Gather round, rock and roll fans, because in this episode, we're tuning our strings to the haunting story of a guitar god whose riffs could summon the devil himself, Randy Rhoads. In March 1982, the virtuoso who breathed new life into Ozzy Osbourne's solo career found himself in a twisted encore no one saw coming. Strap in as we unravel the bizarre chain of events that led to Rhoads' tragic demise and an airplane stunt gone horribly wrong. That's today on Death in Entertainment.
Live from Los Angeles.
911, what is your emergency?
Here in Hollywood now.
2 counts of murder,
Injury and death.
Oh my God!
Shocking new details.
that has stunned the entertainment world.
This makes me a little nervous.
The hair stood up on my arms.
Just like in the movies.
What do you call this thing anyway?
Death.
In entertainment.
Greetings, Deado Universe.
Hello there.
What's up, everybody? My name's Kyle Plouffe.
And I'm Alejandro Dowling.
And today we have the wild ride of Randy Rhoads. One of the most crazy touring road stories of all time that ended someone's life way too early. And yeah, I don't know if anybody who doesn't know this story, I don't think you're prepared for how crazy this gets.
I don't remember all the details, if any, except that it's some sort of crazy airplane stunt that really didn't need to happen.
Something like that.
Okay. Did it involve a bit of being a show-off?
Not on his part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to just let you tell this story.
Yes, and before we do tell the story, we got to let everyone know that's listening, there is going to be some comedy involved in this podcast, okay?
What?
Yes, we make light of things around here, so if that's not your bag, if you don't like true crime comedy podcasts, then get on another flight.
Yes, I agree.
And without further ado, let's take 2 tickets to paradise.
Yeah, baby!
All right. Randall William Rhoads. He was born December 6, 1956 in Santa Monica, California.
Not too far, just down the street.
Right down the 405.
And an hour drive
Yeah.
on the highway.
Yeah. 9 miles, 2-hour drive. Both his mother and father were actually musicians. So music was in his blood.
Much like Dimebag.
Yes.
A lot of these legends come from musical families,
Yeah.
I've come to find. Which explains why I don't have any musical talent. I can't think of anybody in my entire family tree.
That plays an instrument.
Well, that plays it professionally.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough gig.
But don't you think there's something to that theory that it's in the blood?
I think so, yeah. I think any industry, it's kind of, you get passed down. Your father was a janitor. Your father's father was a janitor.
Oh, God. Yeah,
It's the family business.
either a janitor or a rock and roll star.
Yeah, exactly. But his mother, Dolores, actually played professional piano or piano professionally. And his dad was a public school music teacher who tried to perform as a solo act. So like I said, it was just, his blood type was A minor.
It was.
But when Randy was a year and a half old, his father left his mother, remarried another woman, and hit the bricks with a new family.
All right. Well, he didn't really earn that.
No.
He wasn't a big music star.
No, he
was a teacher
at a
then
public school.
And you can just imagine his ego, but in his head, he's the star.
Yeah.
And so he can leave his wife because that's what they do in the rock and roll industry.
Papa was a Rolling Stone. And not one of the good ones. Yeah, that's main character syndrome. When people just think that they're the man and they're living in a movie and everybody else is just in it for the ride. So that left his mother, Dolores, to raise Randy, his brother, Doug, and his sister, Kathy, all 3 kids on her own.
That is horrible.
Yeah. She graduated from UCLA with a degree in music and also opened her own music school in where else but right here in North Hollywood, California.
Really?
Yeah. I actually looked it up. The address is 1 block away from my place right now.
Shut up.
It's still there.
Okay, we're adding it to the die
We're
tour.
going to have to go, yeah.
It would take a little bit of explaining, but this is Randy Rhoads' mom's old school.
Yeah.
He died there?
No.
No, but he spent some formative years playing music there.
Exactly.
Now, I heard that she was a bit of a disciplinarian.
You would be correct, my friend. Because she's a successful, independent woman who don't need no man for shit. She's doing all this stuff on her own. She's raising a family.
You'd almost have to be in that situation.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like disciplinarian in the normal sense, that she was very tough on them.
Mm-hmm. But she kind of was. Like she, wanted to do everything by the book and make sure her kids were, on the right path. And I think she was just really worried after the father left that, they might, get depressed or try to run away or whatever. So she was just making sure to be right on them.
It's a classic bridge to depression when there's a divorce in the family.
Yeah.
Or kids acting out.
Exactly. So as soon as she started the school, she was bringing Randy there with her. He was like 6 years old. He was poking around the music school called the Musonia School of Music. And
Musonia. Wow.
He opened a closet door. And
that's like the Britannic.
Yeah.
I love that name.
The USS Musonia. He opened a closet door and knocked over one of his grandfather's acoustic guitars. And his mother ran in there, was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, I want to play that now. I don't know what that is."
So it didn't break.
No. So at 6 years old,
it just fell, and then it started rattling like dun,
yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
Bum, 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 bum. That would be amazing. So yeah, at 6 years old, he started getting guitar lessons.
That's the age you have to start.
Yeah.
I tried it when I was a teenager. Didn't exactly set the world on fire.
Not so good. So yeah, he was playing music, playing guitar for 6 years. At 12 years old, his mother finally got him to break and take piano lessons like she wanted him to, because as good as he was at guitar, he didn't even know how to read music. So she wanted him to learn music theory and know how to actually read the notes and where they go on the scales and all that stuff. So he actually took up to that really easily and started reading music quickly, and then got very bored of the piano because his love for the electric guitar was just shining through.
That is sort of a deviation as well, I would say, that he learned all the notes, because a lot of those guitar gods like Jimi Hendrix didn't even know how to read music.
Yeah, exactly. I would say more don't than do.
Right.
So Dolores asked one of her in-house instructors to teach Randy the electric guitar. And just after a few weeks, the teacher was like, "I can't teach him anything else because he already knows everything that I know. Like, he's that good." Keep in mind, he's had a knack for it and had already been playing acoustic for about 6 years. So it kind of came naturally to be able to, it's not even switching over. It's just playing the same instrument. And some people just have it. But it's nice to see a grown adult teacher being like, "Nah, he's good. Like, he just needs to go off and really start playing now."
To be honest about it.
Yeah. Because some people will still be like, "No, you're under my thumb and I'll teach you everything," and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So going from solo to band play now, he was 14 years old. He created his first band, Violet Fox, named after his mother's middle name, Violet.
It's a nice tribute.
Yeah.
And calling her a fox?
Yeah, that's a little weird. Foxy Violet.
Some Freudian stuff there.
That's my mom. Yeah, a little Oedipus complex.
Oh, yeah, Oedipus.
Yeah, but Freud too. Randy, he was playing guitar, and his brother Doug played the drums. And they would cover the Rolling Stones, Alice Cooper, the Beatles, David Bowie, and more.
Those were his biggest idols,
Yeah.
Alice Cooper and David Bowie.
Yes.
Specifically Mick Ronson, who was the guitarist in Bowie's band in the Ziggy Stardust days.
Right.
And looking at Randy's picture now that you have up, He sort of looks like Mick Ronson. I think he modeled his whole style after him.
Right. Which is interesting because he was ended up being known as the guy for that style too.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people probably wouldn't know the name Mick Ronson.
Right. And like you said, his mother was a disciplinarian, so they created all the music they could listen to at home. As weird as it sounds, Randy's mother did not allow them to have a stereo in the house. So there was no radio. Instead of listening all the time, they were just creating and perfecting their craft together.
Come on.
Yeah.
They didn't listen to other music.
Well, that doesn't mean they weren't sneaking tapes and listening to them when they could, but it was just hidden.
Because obviously he went and listened to Alice Cooper and David Bowie.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine living in a house where your mom is a music teacher but doesn't allow you to listen to music?
That's abusive.
It's like a drug dealer that doesn't do their own drugs.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Because that's a house of just holding back. That's a house where you're not going to fully enjoy yourself.
The thing she creates is contraband in the house. Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
But can you argue against it?
It'd be like she sets up these writing workshops in her basement for the kids, and then she's like, but no books.
Yeah. Weekly book burning.
If I catch you reading Mark Twain, you're out of here.
You're going to have to write about it. Yeah, but can you argue against what she created? I mean, he became one of the greatest rock guitarists of all time in a very short amount of time.
1 in 100 turn out like Randy Rhoads. The others,
less than that.
The others are pushing shopping carts by Ralph.
Yeah. Randy absolutely loved hearing live versions of concerts, and he preferred them over studio recorded music because he noticed that the guitar players were not like as constrained by the format, which is true. When you go see a band live, you could hear the same song a million times over the years, but you'd hear a different guitar solo every time too. Mm-hmm. He just loved that, and he would memorize all the different iterations of guitar solos from different live albums and play them live for people, and it would just blow people away that he knew them. In July of 1971, when he was 14 years old, he and his brother went to see Alice Cooper at the Long Beach Auditorium, and it changed his life forever.
School's out forever
and ever. The lights, the sounds, the crowd, the aura, the feeling in the building, something just clicked where he knew he could work his way to experiencing that same thing on stage one day. And he was right. Less than 2 years later, he started a rock band that would soon be world famous.
Oh.
Along with his childhood best friend, Kelly Garney, he started a band called Little Women.
This is where the record scratch.
Does that not sound familiar?
It doesn't.
That's because
I've heard of the book.
Yeah.
Seen the movie.
Yeah. That's because that band ended up getting a couple new members and becoming Quiet Riot.
Oh.
Yes. Quiet Riot, the actual band name, came from a quote from British musician Rick Parfitt from the band Status Quo. He had just mentioned in an interview that he thought Quite Right would be a great band name, but the guys in the band were saying it in a British accent, so they were saying Quiet Riot. And that's literally how that band name stuck.
Thank God they misheard it.
Quiet Riot.
That's way better than Quite Right.
Yeah.
Quiet Riot.
Yeah, Quite Right. The band consists...
I am quite right, I know.
Quiet Riot. The band consisted of drummer Drew Forsyth, joining Randy and Kelly Garney, and for some reason, an LA-based photographer, Kevin Dubrow, was hired as the lead vocalist. And Dubrow instantly became divisive because Randy didn't like him.
I don't think he minded him that much.
He wasn't what he was looking for. He wanted someone darker and more brooding like Alice Cooper as the front man. That's what he envisioned. But Dubrow just would not go away, and Randy eventually was just like, all right, I like your enthusiasm. All right, let's go. And they instantly became a huge sensation in the LA music scene.
They were sneering at his musical skills, correct? That Kevin wasn't the greatest singer.
Right.
That's what really it was about?
Yeah, that's why they talk about him as a photographer.
But he was a hell of a performer.
He's a showman.
I absolutely think he was one of the best.
Wow.
Especially in the glam rock era.
Yes.
I saw a documentary about Quiet Riot. Spoiler alert, Kevin Dubrow died.
Oh, wow.
When did he die? In like 2007-ish?
11?
Of a drug overdose.
Cocaine.
And
2007, yeah.
How did I know that?
You probably just finished the documentary.
No, I didn't. Please. I'm just that good.
He died in Las Vegas.
Nothing good happens in Vegas.
Accidental cocaine overdose.
I like how they say accidental.
Yeah.
So there's a movie that was made about the band after Kevin died, trying to replace the lead singer.
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
No.
You have to go see this.
I have not seen this one.
Because one of the guys that they hire plays a few shows with them, and he forgets the lyrics to Come On, Feel the Noise.
Oh, girls
on
rock
stage.
your boys. Get wild, wild, wild.
And in the meeting afterwards, they all look at the guy and they say, dude, you can't forget the lyrics to our only hit song.
Yeah. The hell's wrong with you? Yeah, so Rhoads, even though he wasn't the front man, he was the main guy in the band, musically and visually. The polka dot theme, as we can see here, which is on his guitar, became like his staple. He would wear a bow tie with polka dots on it and like a vest that he would keep open and have like that V look.
He was not interested in being your run-of-the-mill guitarist.
No.
He related to that glam rock world.
Yes, which is also what Pantera did before they ended up becoming the real Pantera. They were like glam rock guys with hairspray. And
So is that what they wanted at first, you think?
Yeah.
Or they were just trying to fit in?
They were just trying to fit in.
That wasn't their true self.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is Randy Rhoads' true self.
Yes.
Glam, so it's the opposite.
Yeah.
But there was another similarity that you just mentioned that I thought of Dimebag.
What's that?
That Dimebag was the star, even though he was not the lead singer.
Right, that's true. Not easy to do.
No.
Word was just getting out that Rhoads was just like blowing everybody off the stage. Like there was no one as good as him. It's been said that him and Eddie Van Halen are like very comparable on the greatest guitarist of all time.
And did they have a feud?
They sure did. In the 70s, they developed a friendly but big rivalry.
Frenemies.
Frenemies, exactly, with Van Halen before either of them had signed a record deal.
Wow.
Van Halen signed to Warner Brothers in 1977 and released a debut album that would achieve gold status. Quiet Riot's contract with Sony only got their first two albums released in Japan.
Whoa.
Like, what the hell?
Well, big in Japan. That's where that phrase comes from. Better than having no fans.
Yeah. Well, this inability to get an American deal was getting everybody pissed off. And Dubrow and bassist Garney began to cannibalize the band. Garney said, I was on a constant quest to get Dubrow out of the band and get a different singer. I hated him. He hated me, and we could not find any way whatsoever to get along, which caused a lot of tension in the band, and it put a lot of stress on Randy to try to be neutral.
I don't understand all the fighting because don't you think that Kevin Dubrow would have been a charismatic guy?
Well,
just taking drugs, having fun.
But then you really start to sniff your own ass and believe your own hype. And believe your own bullshit.
Yeah, I suppose.
I can see how it happens where people who are clearly more talented than you just go, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And then you see others make it before you that have less talent.
Yeah. There was a huge, almost deadly breaking point of the band at this point. This is in 1978.
Of Quiet Riot.
Yes. They were recording Quiet Riot 2, and Kelly Garney got so drunk, he robbed a bar and stole a bunch of liquor. He went up to Randy and was like, we need to replace the vocalist. When Rhoads said no, Garney drunkenly fired a handgun through the ceiling, and a fight between him and Rhoads broke out.
What?
Garney then ran away and came up with a plan to go across town to where Dubrow was recording the vocals for Quiet Riot 2.
And then they were going to cut a hole in the floor around him,
Like, woo!
and he was just going to fall into it.
Almost. His plan was to take that gun and go shoot him in the head.
Oh, my fucking God.
Yeah.
He really wanted to shoot Kevin Dubrow and kill him.
He was going to kill him. Yeah. Well, he almost killed Randy. They were fighting and just fucking bang, the gun goes off in the ceiling.
When you said deadly, I thought it was a bit of hyperbole.
Not at all. So on his way over, he was so drunk he was speeding and swerving, and he was arrested for drunk driving before he reached the studio. Oh,
wow.
Man. Yeah.
Well, lucky for Kevin.
Yeah. By the next year, 1979, Randy was just like, I'm sick of how much you guys are fighting. This is bullshit. I didn't start this band to be stressed out. Like, we're trying to get a deal here. Later that year, a man named Ozzy Osbourne steps up to the plate and is looking for a new guitarist. Dana Strum kept calling Randy and was like, we have an opening. Keep coming, audition. And he's like, no. He's like, I got a band. We're trying to work it out, blah, blah, blah.
And Ozzy is fresh from Black Sabbath at this point.
Yeah, so I didn't realize. I thought Ozzy was at the point where he was getting so big that he just left Black Sabbath. It's the complete opposite. The band was just like, we're done with you, because he was drinking and drugging like crazy, and they just didn't want to do it anymore. So I always thought Ozzy left them. They left Ozzy. They dumped him.
That's what I assumed too.
Yeah. So Ozzy's like, all right, I'll go do my own thing. Getting a new tour together, and Randy is like, fine, whatever. Like, I just want this guy to stop calling me. So he shows up to, where Ozzy was staying in LA, brings his guitar and sets up his amp, and is just warming up in the other room, knowing that Ozzy's like, getting ready or whatever. And through the wall, Ozzy was like, what the fuck is that? Oh my God. He didn't know if he was like too drunk and he was hearing it better than it really was or what, but
he was having a vision.
He literally, he was
in his ears.
He was just warming up, and Ozzy came out and was like, that was the best thing I ever heard. You're hired.
Or it was more like, oh my God, that was the best thing I ever heard.
You got a bat?
Sharon.
And Randy was like freaked out because he was just like, you didn't even hear my stuff yet. I was just warming up. Which is insane that his warm-up is better than anybody else's actual audition.
How amazing would that be? You show up for an audition and you just start going, la-ti-da-da-da.
Me.
Okay, let me start. And then they say, wait.
You're hired.
Stop the presses. You got it, kid. We're signing you to a 6-picture deal.
Yeah, so life changes immediately. He's no longer, having to be stressed out by Quiet Riot.
And how perfect for Ozzy.
Yeah.
He's starting this solo endeavor, and then you come across the greatest guitarist in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let's link up.
Come on down.
Come on, feel the noise with me.
Yeah. Osbourne was telling the band that he recently met one of the best guitarists in Los Angeles, and his name's Randy Rhoads. He's going to be running around with them. The new group's management intended to keep the lineup all British and was reluctant to hire an unknown American, but manager Don Arden eventually relented. Who is Don Arden, by the way?
A producer.
Yes.
And a father.
Of Sharon Osbourne. Did you know that?
I did.
I'm like, how the fuck? It's all nepotism.
I know.
I thought Sharon was like this unknown woman that was in the crowd, just like Rocky and Adrian. Nope.
And she was homely back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So it was like a nice story. Like, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Ozzy could have been with all these other groupies, and he picks this nice lady.
Yeah. Daddy was a record producer. I had no idea until this. Crazy.
Daddy wasn't a Rolling Stone.
No.
He owned Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
And he was married to someone else at the time. Ozzy.
Was he at this point?
They started out as an affair.
Ooh.
And then it got more serious.
Hey, well, Daddy's paying the bills. It better get serious.
And I also heard a tasty rumor that one night after some drinks, Randy Rhoads and Sharon made out.
They had a shag?
Not a shag, Just a couple of smooches.
Wow. Well,
you know how things get on tour. It's incestuous.
Sure.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
That's right.
And by the way, another true story about Sharon. She had sex with Jay Leno.
No.
I swear to God.
This Alejandro fake fact coming back again.
I know it sounds weird. Why would I just make this up?
Because you do shit like that.
It's a true story. Google it.
Wow.
Everyone listening, just write it down. Google it later.
Just imagine the noises coming out of that room. Oh, you like that? Oh, yeah.
Jay, little lower, please. What, right here? Is this it? Hey, Jay. Hey, Kevin, you see this G-spot? Did you hear about this?
Hey, baby, you see this?
I'm about to come.
I'm flapping her ass.
You see this?
I can't believe it.
Smells like bleach.
Oh, well, Randy didn't make it easy to be hired either, which shows that they really, really wanted him. He showed up to Heathrow Airport, was turned away because he didn't have the necessary work permit to actually go there and start working as a musician.
Which he should have been on top of.
Yes. They threw him in a holding cell and handcuffed him, put him back on a plane to the U.S., and they had to really work it out, getting the paperwork done over the next couple weeks because they needed to start going on the road.
Yeah.
And rehearsing. Bulrush Cottage was a rehearsal space back in London, and it was there that Rhoads lived with Osbourne and his then wife Thelma. That's right. So Ozzy had 2 other kids.
You mean
Wait,
besides...
Is that Kelly and Jack?
Besides Kelly and Jack?
Yeah.
Well, there was one that refused to appear on the reality show. I knew there was a third one that just didn't want any part of the spotlight.
What the...
Amy, I believe.
Amy Osbourne, Jessica, Elliot, Kingsley, Lewis Osbourne.
Gee, where was their reality show?
Yeah.
He could have had a couple going at the same time.
Yeah, the UK version.
The Osbournes, too.
Yeah. On his Wikipedia, it says he has 5, including Amy, Kelly, and Jack. So there's, the other 2 that he had with Thelma.
And then the other
they're not
2.
even listed. That's crazy.
The other 2 that he never talks to. He even started a podcast with Kelly and Jack and Sharon.
That's why I'm so surprised.
What about the other kids?
Fuck.
Where's their podcast?
Sheesh. Wow.
They're probably the Grip.
Osbourne stated it in his autobiography that he didn't understand why a musician as talented as Rhoads would want to get involved with a, quote, bloated alcoholic wreck like himself.
So he was self-deprecating.
Yeah. And that's why they were trying so hard to make sure his paperwork got cleared. And, we're stealing him from another band. And really, it wasn't easy for them to get him. And they wanted to make it work because they knew how talented he was.
Because on some level, Quiet Riot is not fully established yet.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps in Randy's mind, he'd rather be with an original band and come up with them.
Right.
Rather than join forces with an already established entertainer like Ozzy.
Yeah.
And he was not a fan of Black Sabbath.
Randy wasn't?
No.
Oh, wow.
Not at all.
Holy shit.
Which is insane if you think about it.
Yeah.
Usually they hire the person that is like groveling at their feet, like, oh my God, you are the best.
Yeah, because then you can pay him less. He's just happy to be there.
Because he didn't like to play Black Sabbath songs on tour.
Mm-hmm. So they were off and running, man.
Yeah, Crazy Train is a great song to kickstart it.
Yeah, which I always thought Crazy Train was
Sabbath. Same.
It's not?
It's not.
Wow.
It's Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay, so that is all Randy Rhoads.
Yeah.
Wow.
By the way, Sharon Osbourne revealed the Jay Leno story on The Talk.
Yeah.
I see the article here. They had one of those gimmicky episodes where everyone tells a secret.
Oh.
And that was hers.
Next up on the yuck.
How can you show your face after that?
Oh, he had sex with Jay Leno.
Like, who wants to imagine that? We already did. Okay, so where are we? Crazy train. We're on a crazy train.
Yeah, we're on a crazy train out of Sharon Osbourne's ass and going back to the band. Pretty insane that Sharon was there. She would always go on tour with them. I don't know exactly when. I guess I'll look it up now because I didn't realize there was such drama with Sharon and Thelma.
It makes sense, though, if you think about it. She's the manager, so they're together all the time.
Yeah.
And for all the things that usually the spouse isn't a part of. The crazy train of shows and touring and parties.
Yeah, so Thelma and Ozzy had Jessica and Lewis, and they adopted Elliot Kingsley, which is Thelma's 5-year-old son from a previous relationship, who was born in 1966. So he really has 6 kids because he has Amy, Jack, and Kelly. And Elliot, Lewis, and Jessica, who I don't know if anyone's ever heard of. I certainly haven't.
No.
Their divorce was in 1982, which is a year we're heading to right now anyway. So let's get into it. Ozzy admitted that his struggle with alcohol and substance abuse was the main reason behind their separation. But it doesn't seem just that. It seems that also Sharon Osbourne being on the tour bus with them all the time,
throwing herself at him,
may have had something to do with it. Getting closer to 1982, 1981, we have a clip here of Mr. Randy Rhoads.
Randy, on behalf of the over 500,000 readers of Guitar Player magazine in the U.S. and in 70 countries throughout the world, I'd like to present you with the 1981 Best New Talent Award. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Give him a kiss, Ozzy.
Oh, there's Sharon.
I've got a lot of work to do, and makes you realize there's a lot of responsibility. And this tour, I want to really get myself together and work harder, you know, because I'm really proud and honored, and I don't want to stop here, you know.
Yeah, why stop there?
You don't stop there.
The way Sharon was throwing smooches on him.
She looks like Susan Boyle. Exactly like Susan Boyle.
That's not a compliment.
No, it's not.
She did level up.
Well, yeah, when she got her face carved up.
Yeah, she got a bit of lipo, got some plastic surgery, got a couple more $100 million.
Got a giant Boston-based chin up her ass. Oh, hey.
That was before, though.
How's that feel?
That was the 70s.
Oh, that was the 70s?
Yeah, this is post Jay Leno.
Oh, so she was banging him before he was even really Jay Leno.
Mm-hmm.
He was just a guy with a chin and a microphone.
Yep.
And a lot less cars.
But seeing her in that clip with him, I wonder if they had threesomes.
Ugh. Maybe.
I'm bringing up a lot of gross stuff.
What does that room smell like? Not good.
War pigs.
Yeah. Oh, boy. All right, let's see Ozzy live with Randy.
Ooh.
See him shred with that customized polka dot guitar.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Little Mr. Crowley for you.
They had a great rapport with each other, you can tell from that clip.
Oh, yeah. Much more,
playful.
Yeah.
And yet could deliver.
Yeah, exactly. You could feel that they have more going on than Quiet Riot did with Dubrow.
For sure. They have more than just Come Feel the Noise, which, by the way, Quiet Riot finally blew up in the early 80s with Metal Health, the album.
Yeah.
And Come On Feel the Noise. But did you know that they didn't even write that song?
Really?
That was from Slade in 1973.
Oh, wow.
It was a cover.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now do you think even less of Kevin Dubrow?
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Well, all the success is happening.
It's a successful time. It's a good time to be alive.
Yes.
If you're a guitar virtuoso.
Yeah, absolutely. Things are looking up. You're on tour with, one of the biggest rock names of all time. You're a rock god yourself.
I have a question, though.
I might have an answer.
Was Ozzy acting better in this time?
No.
Did he didn't tone it down at all?
No, and Randy, the last thing he ever said to him was, "You're going to kill yourself," before he got off the bus.
I guess I was just thinking that to achieve all these milestones, you'd have to be somewhat with it.
No. I mean, Ozzy is known for being that guy where he stumbles out and, still puts on a good show, but behind the scenes, he's a goddamn wreck.
Yeah, that is exactly what he's known for.
Yeah.
And portrayed as, because in that movie I've told you about before, Decline of Western Civilization Part 2,
Yeah.
which is about heavy metal, what's her name? Penelope Spheris, who directed Wayne's World. She was the director of this documentary, and she interviews Ozzy in it, and he's talking to her in his kitchen, and then she cuts to a close-up of his hand pouring orange juice into a glass. And then the hand starts shaking like this.
Oh, yeah.
And the orange juice goes all over the counter.
I've seen that. Yeah.
She later admitted that was fake.
Oh,
it was
come on.
inserted later.
Oh, Jesus.
But that tells you what his public persona was.
Yeah.
That they wanted to do that because everyone's expecting that from Ozzy.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Ozzy, he went into a record label and bit the head off a bat. He was just out of his mind.
He did that on stage, I thought.
No, it was in executive's office.
That might have been a dove in the executive office.
Let me see.
But he did it other times. I believe the bat, though, was on stage. And Randy Rhoads was not a fan of those kind of antics.
Oh, this was in concert on the road in Des Moines. Yeah, the bat was, he thought it was a rubber bat. I picked it up, put it in my mouth, crunched down, bit into it. Being the clown that I am.
In Des Moines it was?
Yeah.
All right, so in Wisconsin, the bat bites you. And in Iowa, you bite the bat.
Words and photos emerged saying that he'd bitten the heads off of 2 white doves at the CBS sales convention in Los Angeles. The plan had been for Ozzy to give a speech of thanks to his audience and then release 3 symbolic doves apiece. But he ate 2 of them. Okay.
What an animal.
Wow.
And Randy absolutely hated that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
He just wanted to be glam rock.
Yeah, let's play some fucking music, put some hairspray in our hair, and have a good time.
You don't need to kill birds or rodents with wings.
Yeah, so Ozzy, like you were asking, he was drinking heavily. He even fired the entire band after a show. Well, he was shit-faced, had no memory of doing it. So they just kept on playing on the road.
God almighty.
Yeah. He kept saying to Randy that Frank Zappa and Gary Moore were going to replace him on the road and was just fucking with him at this point. It's like, dude, you begged for him to come to your band and he's there and now you're treating him like shit. It's crazy. So they're going on the road. They played Thursday, March 18th, 1982 at the Knoxville Civic Coliseum. The next day, the band was scheduled to play the Rock Super Bowl, which is a festival in Orlando, Florida that was happening for quite some time in the 70s and 80s.
What is it about? It has nothing to do with football, right?
No, it's literally just the name of a festival, like When We Were Young Festival or Woodstock or whatever.
It's not like The Rock putting on a football game.
It was just the Rock Super Bowl. And his final conversation Osbourne remembers having with Randy was Randy saying to him, "You'll kill yourself, one of these days." And then he got off the bus. Why did he get off the bus? After driving much of the night, the tour bus stopped at the Flying Baron Estates in Leesburg, Florida, to fix a malfunctioning air conditioner while Osbourne remained asleep.
You'd want that in Florida.
Yeah.
Very humid, hot.
Extremely humid. It's so gross. On the property owned by the Calhoun brothers, there was an airstrip with helicopters and small planes. Without permission, the tour bus driver and private pilot Andrew Aycock took a single-engine Beechcraft F-35 plane registered to Mike Parton and just stole it and went up for a flight. On the first flight, Aycock took keyboardist Don Airey and tour manager Jake Duncan with him as passengers. Duncan later revealed that Aycock buzzed the bus in an attempt to wake up the drummer Tommy Aldridge. The group then landed. The second flight had Rhoads.
What a lunatic.
Yeah. Second flight had Randy Rhoads and makeup artist and wardrobe girl Rachel Youngblood on the flight. Rhoads had tried to get the bassist Rudy Zarzo on the flight, and Zarzo was like, hell no, I'm not going on that fucking thing, and neither should you.
Smart. It's called self-preservation.
Yeah, but the only reason Randy did is because he knew that Rachel Youngblood had a really bad heart condition. So Aycock was like, listen, I know about her condition too. I'm not going to do that again. I just want it to be a nice, flight. We'll go up, take some pictures, and just come down and land. And Randy was like, all right, fine.
So he thought that because she was joining them, it was just going to be a nice, tranquil ride.
Easy, yeah.
Why didn't the first two guys that took the ride warn anybody? You'd think they would be like, that was awful, you asshole. You almost killed us.
Well, they were laughing.
Oh, they thought it was funny to clip the bus and almost die.
Well, they didn't clip it. They just went near it.
Well, they went near enough to rattle it.
Yeah, exactly. During the second flight, more attempts were made to buzz the tour bus.
Oh, buzz. That's just flying over it.
Yes.
Okay.
He succeeded in making 2 close passes, but botched the third attempt. At 10 a.m., after being in the air for about 5 minutes, one of the plane's wings clipped the top of the tour bus, breaking the wing into 2 parts, sending the plane spiraling. The initial impact with the bus caused Rhoads and Youngblood's heads to crash through the plane's windshield. The plane then severed the top of a pine tree and crashed into the garage of a nearby mansion, bursting into flames. Randy, Aycock, and Youngblood, ages 25, 36, and 58 respectively, were all killed instantly. All 3 bodies were burned beyond recognition, and Rhoads was identified by his jewelry. He was that badly burned. According to Sharon Osbourne, who was asleep on the bus and awoken by the crash, said they were all in bits. It was just body parts everywhere.
Oh, like the Twilight Zone.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like worse.
Well, yeah.
The band's keyboardist, Don Airey, was the only member of the band to witness the crash. In his account, he reported a struggle between Rhoads and Aycock in the cockpit seconds before the crash. So he thinks that he knew the tour bus driver was fucking around and wanted him to stop. And so he was like fighting for the control of the plane.
Randy was.
Yeah. And so Don Airey truly believes that had he not done that, that more people would have been dead because he would have been even lower because he saw them struggling for control of the plane. Also, could be that struggle is what caused them to clip the fucking tour bus,
right?
Too. So it's hard to say.
Could have just been a buzzing.
Yeah. Because he was taking pictures with his own camera. He had like a telephoto lens, and he could see through the lens that there was a struggle going on board. The wings were rapidly tipping from side to side, and at one point, the plane was almost completely sideways, no more than 6 feet off the ground. That's when I put down my camera and saw the plane right in front of me. I quickly crouched to avoid getting hit and looked over my shoulder and watched it clip the bus, crash into the tree, and explode on impact into the garage.
Could you imagine being an eyewitness to that and people you know?
Terror. Oh, my God.
And Randy Rhoads, no less.
Yeah.
A talent that is just becoming itself.
Yeah. And all they could see was the manager came out, Jake Duncan, who was on the first flight. He was in the fetal position just screaming, they're gone, they're gone.
And in his head, he's thinking that could have been him.
Yeah. Tommy Aldridge grabbed a fire extinguisher from the bus and ran towards the crash site in an attempt to put out the fire, but it was just way too big.
Yeah.
The entire house burnt down. One of the guys ran in and to see if anybody was inside the house, and it was just one like 80-something-year-old man, and he was deaf, so he didn't know what happened. He felt like a big thing, and he's looking, and then all of a sudden there's this stranger in his house screaming at him to get the fuck out, and there's smoke just billowing through the house. He's like, that poor guy. He's like, I don't know sign language. Eventually someone was able to communicate to him what happened, but he's like, I feel so bad for him that happened on his property and to his house. And he didn't comprehend what was actually happening until way later.
And lucky that he didn't die as well.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, they went into the house to try to find somebody.
How terrifying.
And luckily, the front door was open.
And the moment that old man finally understood.
Oh, God.
And where was the pilot sleeping?
The actual owner of the plane?
Yeah.
This was on a property that...
Oh, the plane was just there.
Every house had a plane outside of it.
Yeah. But how did they get the keys?
Oh, I think they just left them inside.
Yeah.
They didn't think anyone would just come by and be a dumbass and...
The old honor...
a wild ride.
Yeah, the old honor system.
Yeah.
This is why you need to hide the keys. Don't let idiots near your plane.
Yeah. I mean, the guy that didn't want to go on the flight, what was his name? Rudy Sarzo. He knew that the bus driver, that dude Acock, had been up doing cocaine all night too and drinking. Like, they didn't even like that he was driving the tour bus. Never mind, get on a flight with him.
Right.
They were like, finally, we're here. We're safe. Don't fuck with this guy anymore. Let him sleep.
Uh-huh.
Didn't work.
There are characters like that are completely out of control. Yeah. They're irritating, and you know they don't have a good ending.
Right.
It's just a shame that they take others with them.
Yeah.
And remind me, Sharon and Ozzy, you said, were in a nearby cabin?
They were on the bus.
So they were on the bus that the plane was buzzing over.
Yeah.
So they could have been killed easily if the plane had crashed right into the bus instead of just clipping it.
Yeah, if the wing hit it like another foot lower, it would have taken more of the plane down immediately instead of making it go up.
Yeah.
Because they like barely clipped it.
But still. Mm-hmm. But still, that's not much. That's really not much space in the scheme of things when it comes to an airplane.
Yeah. And especially if you're laying on the top bunk, it destroyed the top where it hit. So it could have easily killed someone just from that.
But they were sleeping at the time, and they wake up to that.
Yeah. Sarzo was making tea because they woke him up to do the plane ride with them, and he was like, no. And then he got up and was having his tea. He said he was pouring milk into his tea, and it felt like the tour bus exploded, and he had no idea what happened. He shit his pants and ran out.
Yeah.
And that's when he saw Duncan on the grass outside, just rocking back and forth in the fetal position, saying, they're gone, they're gone.
Because if you were in the bus and woke up to that, I remember a couple summers ago when there was an earthquake here, I woke up in the middle of the night to all the shaking and rumbling, and I was absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
Imagine it's not just an earthquake that goes away within seconds. Imagine it actually is something completely terrifying.
Just a huge explosion.
Yeah.
Right over your head. Yeah, Ozzy said he was awoken by a loud explosion. He immediately thought that they'd hit a vehicle on the road. He got out of bed screaming to Sharon, get off the bus. Meanwhile, she was screaming at everyone to get off the bus too. After getting out of the bus, I saw a plane had crashed. I didn't know who was on the plane. When we realized that our people were on the plane, I found it very difficult to get assistance from anyone to help. In fact, it took, he says, almost a half hour before anyone arrived. It was actually over 2 hours.
Shut up.
Before first responders got there.
How much in the middle of nowhere was this?
Very much in the middle of the nowhere. It was on like acres and acres by itself, and the closest people were too far away, and they didn't have a phone.
Which is why they all had planes in their driveways.
So it was, 9, 10 in the morning, and that's why it took people seeing the smoke going up in the air to call 911 and be like, I think something happened over there. And they're like, all right, we'll get around to it. Finally showed up. They didn't realize that it was a plane crash with 3 people dead and an entire mansion burning to the ground. Randy Rhoads' girlfriend, Jody Raskin, was in her car when she recalled hearing a block of songs from Blizzard of Oz on the radio before the DJ announced the accident and the news that Rhoads was killed. That's going to be crazy. and figure out.
Like, oh, cool, they're playing Crazy Train.
Yeah. And it's all exciting to hear, and then they come on saying he's dead. And like, that's your partner. That's crazy. She said she was way too distraught to continue driving. Had to pull over.
That's so unimaginable.
Yeah. When Eddie Van Halen learned about the crash, he said that the pilot had to have been fucked up when it happened. In a 1982 radio interview, saying, "You don't fly that low and smash into a crew bus and then hit the house." He said the pilot was jerking off. That's just plain stupidity. I feel so sorry for Randy.
That's exactly what it was. It wasn't even a pilot error. The guy was doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
A pilot error you could forgive.
Right, exactly. But he just thinks he's fucking hilarious.
God, I hate those kind of people.
The British rock singer Ozzy Osbourne, formerly with the group Black Sabbath, escaped injury when a plane made 2 low passes over the house in Florida where he was staying with his present band and then crashed into it. But the group's lead guitarist and makeup artist were killed. Osbourne, who's from Birmingham, has achieved notoriety through outrageous stage antics, including biting the heads off birds. Keith Hindle reports.
A private plane buzzed the house in Leesburg, Florida, where the group was staying. On the 3rd pass, the pilot clipped their tour bus, parked outside, and ploughed into the house, killing the group's lead guitarist, Randy Rhoads, and the makeup artist, Rachel Youngblood. He also killed himself. Ozzy Osbourne was sitting in the bus at the time, but somehow survived unhurt. All the other members of the group also escaped, even though petrol from the wrecked plane started a fierce fire and gutted the house.
Crazy.
Somehow Leesburg, Florida rolled off the tongue well in British.
Leesburg. Osbourne admitted that Aycock had been doing cocaine all night prior to the crash. It was confirmed that after autopsy, he tested positive for cocaine, which I think is crazy. Like, how can you be burnt that much and still have any trace of anything on you?
I guess we learned that cocaine is very durable.
I guess so.
Inflammable.
Rhoads' toxicology test revealed only nicotine. The NTSB investigation determined that Aycock's aviation medical certificate had expired, and it was reported, listen to this, the most avoidable part of this thing is Aycock had been the pilot in another fatal crash in the United Arab Emirates 6 years earlier. He killed somebody as a pilot, helicopter pilot.
Wow.
Sharon had known about the crash, but didn't inform anyone else on the tour. Sharon.
But she didn't know he was going to jump into a plane.
I mean, it doesn't matter if he's on a plane or
train or an automobile.
That's right. I don't care if he's with John Candy all night. He, in the moments after the crash, she started screaming at the tour manager for allowing their people on a plane with a pilot who'd been using drugs all night, telling him, "Don't you know that man had already killed one of the Calhoun's kids in a helicopter crash?" So the people that owned the very property that they're staying on, he killed one of their kids. Like, why would you even bring that guy to one of their properties?
Huh. That's very weird.
Yeah. Not good. Not good. The First Lutheran Church in Burbank, California is where Randy had his funeral, and the pallbearers were Ozzy Osbourne, Aldridge Sarzo, and Kevin Dubrow, if you can imagine that.
Wow. That's pretty heavy.
Yep.
Not the coffin, just the weight of the story and relationship.
Yeah. He was buried at Mountain View Cemetery in San Bernardino, California. And on his tomb has been written an inspiration for all young people. Can you believe that he was only 25 years old when he passed away?
Same age as Tupac.
It's crazy.
We have to start a 25 club.
Yeah. But, I mean, his legacy is still alive, and like I said, he's up there with, people arguing in bars about either Randy Rhoads or Eddie Van Halen being the best guitarist of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's,
very much so.
Yeah.
And for someone that is not really affiliated with any one famous band.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize about Quiet Riot and Randy Rhoads. I was like, holy shit.
Randy Rhoads is definitely a name that most everyone knows that's familiar with classic rock.
Yeah.
He's really still considered one of the best.
Right. Yeah, and it's
synonymous.
Right.
Guitar virtuoso.
Yeah. It's just so goddamn sad and frustrating that that's how it had to.
Well, because this is so needless,
Yeah. Just because some dumb fuck high on cocaine thinks, oh, we should be funny and wake him up.
Yeah.
It's like you already did it 4 times. Why are you going to do it the 5th time?
But also you have to question why anyone would get in the plane with him.
Like I said, the only reason he was coaxed on was because, the woman that was going on with him, the makeup and wardrobe lady, had a bad heart. And the guy was like, listen, I know she has a bad heart. We're just going to go up there and go around the property a couple times. We're just going up for a little fun.
That's not sufficient for me.
Yeah.
So if the lady with a bad heart jumped off a bridge, then Randy Rhoads would too?
Yeah. The Golden Gate.
It's not a good reason to go up in a dangerous plane.
I know, but I could see how you could be like, okay, I trust you.
Never. In fact, I'm never getting in any private plane or helicopter.
Helicopters, definitely not. Planes, I could get in a private plane.
No. Have fun.
Yeah. I've gone skydiving a few times.
Say hi to JFK Jr.
Yeah.
And you're crazy for going skydiving after your mom's story.
I went before my mom's story.
Oh, okay.
She went after me. I haven't been since then.
We talked about on a previous episode, Kyle's mom had a skydiving instructor, and then she went skydiving, and then
2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, her instructor died in a skydiving accident.
With the person he had strapped to his back.
Never.
Yikes.
Never, ever, ever.
Yeah.
And that brings us to
Final thoughts.
Don't get into planes with people who have been doing cocaine all night.
If their nose is covered in white stuff, go the other way.
Yeah, run.
If someone is all tweaked out saying, you want to see something cool? Say no.
Yeah. Also, if you know that someone is responsible for piloting another person to death, I don't care if it's in another country, don't allow them to drive or pilot you in any way, shape, or form.
That's the other thing. That's awful.
Come on, Sharon.
There should have been better quality control there.
Majorly.
It's almost too bizarre to fathom why you would have that person in your circle. You want the best. Van Halen, they did that brown M&M thing for a reason. Because if they saw one brown M&M in that bowl, they knew that there were corners that were cut.
Yeah.
It goes for everything, not just the stage show, for the tour bus, for traveling.
Yeah.
You have to be safe.
You do. You got to make sure everyone's taken care of. The road's dangerous enough. You don't have to make it even more,
The Randy Rhoads, dangerous enough.
Yeah. But yeah, rest in peace. And
they should have a Ben & Jerry flavor, Randy Rhoads.
Rocky Randy Rhoads.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Randy
I'll work
Rocky
on it.
Road.
You've got mail.
From Tony Tomato Blue that said, I was up and down, back and forth with my feelings on your Farrah Fawcett MJ episode. However, when Kyle got teary-eyed over Paris Jackson, I loved it. The jokes about MJ and the kids were rough, but I laughed some. Thank you.
We got a few out there.
Well, thanks for sticking with us, Tony. Yeah, you have an MJ episode. There's going to be some jokes to be had.
Yeah, and there's also going to be controversy.
Yeah,
because some people think one thing and other people think another thing.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not all monsters here, okay?
No.
Sometimes we can tear up a little bit. We're all human.
Yeah, I'm tearing up right now.
Yeah?
I'm not, but I should try that because you got a lot of goodwill from that.
Hey, you know, it's just being human, man.
It is. We're all human.
Tell them that it's human nature.
Da, 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 da. Shannon called the episode a masterpiece.
Whoa! Where'd you say that?
On Instagram.
Oh, shit. I did not see that.
And then we're getting some good words on YouTube as well.
Oh, very nice.
Another person said, Kyle almost crying totally got me to cry.
Oh, shit.
That was Happy's Funhouse.
Oh, yeah.
And someone reminded us, Ian O'Neill commented, and then Billy Mays died, which is correct.
Yeah, just a few days later.
Billy Mays was they say deaths come in threes, but sometimes it's just a bunch.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of coconuts on Merv Griffin's back.
Lovely bunch of coconuts.
Okay. Well, we had a good time here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us again.
Go listen to some Ozzy.
Yeah.
Celebrate the sound of Randy Rhoads.
Absolutely.
And all roads lead to this podcast, Death and Entertainment.
Yes. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you want, at Death and Entertainment. Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts is closing down, but wherever else you get your podcasts, you know where to find us.
And don't forget about our Patreon. We just posted a very special bonus episode about the Carter family.
Yes, Nick and Aaron Carter. There's a lot to be discussed over there.
There was a lot to unpack there.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it.
We did.
And we also did this.
Yes, we did.
And this is it.
And until next week,
don't go dying on us.
Bye-bye.
You have just heard
a true Hollywood murder mystery.
I have never seen anything like this before.
The movies, Broadway, music, television, all of it.
A place that manufactures nightmares.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
Good night. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon.